Hi, I'm Diane Nelson. Welcome to Meet the Candidate of Harrison Township 2020. This project is a joint effort between myself as the Senior Center Coordinator and Melissa Goins, the Library Director for Harrison Township. The program is designed to bring information to the voters of Harrison Township about the people who currently serve the township and others from our community who want to. The library nor the Senior Center endorses any candidates. The only goal of this project is to provide voters with information.
We're talking to John DeVia, candidate for the Harrison Township Library Board. Tell us a little bit about yourself, John.
Okay, Melissa. First of all, thank you for doing this. I think it's really good that we keep the community informed. Like my wife, Ann, of 38 years, I am a retired educator from L'Anse Creuse Public Schools. We have 3 children who also attended L'Anse Creuse Public Schools. Thankfully for them, they never attended the same school that either of their parents were working at, so we didn't inflict any damage upon them or they upon us. They're all college graduates, now adults, and they're doing fine. Professionally, I retired after 40 plus years with L'Anse Creuse, 20 as a secondary educator, coach, mostly tennis, and a teachers association official. I did 20 years as a building administrator with the last year split between my principalship at Middle School North and as an interim assistant superintendent. I was asked to return for 12 weeks in the 2018-2019 school year, at the end of the year when when a principal from the elementary retired. I've also served as a consultant for the Warren Fitzgerald School District in 2018-2019. And I served for a term as an adjunct professor for the Saginaw Valley State University. My good friend and longtime associate principal, Mark Brown, and I have written a book. Here it is. It's called Principals, True Tales from the Golden Age of Public Education. And I've enjoyed learning in every position that I've served and probably learned as much as my students did along the way. So that's a little about me. Thank you.
Great. What originally prompted you to run for the library board?
Well, even before I retired, I wanted to plan it so that I could still promote literacy. And one of the most important traits that a school can provide. In fact, that was the thing that got me into education in the first place. I was a high school, middle school English teacher, loved books right along the way. My administrative philosophy when I became an administrator was to be a servant leader. And I wanted to continue to serve the community as I had done with the school district when I became principal. I signed up with Macomb Literacy Partners to do that and tutored right after retirement until they closed down almost 2 years ago now. Like many of the tutors from that organization, I continue to tutor one of the students, and I'm very proud to have helped her gain her citizenship in the last 6 months during COVID. It's a different way of becoming a citizen than it might have been otherwise. I didn't know much about the library until I retired. As you can see, we buy a lot of books, so we have them behind me. I brought my grandson to the library in June of that year. It was 2014, right after I'd retired. And I enjoyed the atmosphere, and it seemed to be so similar to what I think my staff and I created at Middle School North. And I became a volunteer to the library at that point. I had spoken to Ken Verkest, whose wife worked with me at Middle School North, and he had become a friend during that time. And he suggested that if the library did pass its millage, that he would encourage me to become a trustee. I also spoke with Carol Wolf, who was a volunteer at the library and instrumental in the volunteer part of the library. Her grandchildren attended Middle School North, and she also encouraged me to apply. So it kept with my intention of promoting literacy, and my volunteering convinced me that it was such a good place to be. So that's why I became part of the library board, and I've been on the board for now 6 years.
Very good. What do you see as the library's role in our community, and how do you plan to help foster that role?
Well, I brag to my friends, both the retired teachers and the ones who are still working, that the Harrison Township Public Library is the tiny library that does everything well. And I believe that the bottom of my heart. It's just a wonderful place to be. It's so much more than just books. It's the entire atmosphere. I see it more as a community resource center and a community center where you can also check out books, or you can use the computers, or you can ask for help on how to use your laptop or some other feature, because I believe that it really serves as a community resource, and that's what I see as a library. I also think that probably the best answer to why a library is important is in this book. It's called The Library Book by Susan Orlean. And there's just a short section, if you don't mind my reading to you. I think this would sort of explain it. She's walking into the library with her son at this point. She says, "When we stepped in, the thunderbolt of recognition struck me so hard that it made me gasp. Decades had passed, and I was 3,000 miles away, but I felt like I had been lifted up and whisked back in that time and place, back to the scenario of walking into the library with my mother. Nothing had changed. There was still the same soft tisk, tisk, tisk of pencil on paper, the muffled murmuring of patrons at the tables in the center of the room, and the creak and groan of book carts and the occasional papery clunk of a book that dropped on a desk. It wasn't that time had stopped in the library. It was as if it were captured here, collected here, and in all libraries. And not only my time, my life, but all human time as well." I thought that was just what a library should be. Okay. Let me see, anything else? No, I think that's about it. Okay.
Okay, great. What are your involvements in community affairs?
Okay, my wife and I are both members of the St. Louis Catholic community, and I serve on the Education Commission and the Parish Council. I play tennis at Peachtree Racquet Club a couple times a week now that they're reopened, and I write short stories, essays, and recently earned a second place for a story that I wrote as part of the Grosse Pointe Public Library Short Story Contest. And so I was, I think, the only Harrison Township resident and only outside Grosse Pointe resident who earned that honor. So I appreciate representing Harrison Township in that way as well.
That's great. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I think I've said enough. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for telling us about yourself, John, and for offering to serve our community.
You're welcome. I appreciate it, and thank you again.
I'm Melissa Goins. Thank you for tuning in to meet the candidates of Harrison Township 2020. Don't forget to vote at the polls on August 4th and November 3rd, or with an absentee ballot. All voting information for Harrison Township can be found at htvotes.com. That's HT for Harrison Township, votes.com.